All right. Hello and welcome. It's saying we are live. And I know there is a little bit of a delay. So by the time you see this, I will be 5 years in the future. Um, so firstly, thank you for joining. If you are just coming in and you've had the page open, go ahead and refresh the page so that you can see the comments there. And I'm just going to go ahead and refresh also to make sure that it is coming in. Adrian is here. She said she thought she missed it. Odetta is here. I'm going to go ahead and present also. And I'm going to, make sure I have this muted. I'm just going to say press play or refresh if you can't see us. Okay. Good. And you can sort the comments by newest comments. That's how you want to sort them. Good. So Tanya just said, hi all. Okay, perfect. Good. We're all in there. Yay. Everyone started coming in. The room is kind of filling up a little bit. The email just went out. So I'm just going to give it another minute or two while everyone sort of comes in. And as you're coming in, just go ahead and do something that might be a little bit scary for you. But I want you to type in your quitting date.
Oh,
yeah. Now that might be in the past for you. If you've already left your job, that might be the day that you put your 2-week notice in, which could be today, or it could be your quitting date, your quitting date that's coming. So I want you to put your date in the comments, and I'm going to actually have 2 dates. And I'll talk about that a little bit later, but I'm going to put 2 dates in there. And then we'll get started in just a minute or two.
woo. Hey, Chioma. Oh, we have a newbie quitter. Naomi recently quit.
I'm not seeing those updated comments. Let me hit refresh to make sure.
I toggle between, I put oldest and then toggle back to newest.
Okay, there it is. Yeah, I see them coming in. Oh, February 1st. Okay. Hey. Already quit. Nice. Yes. So exciting. Yeah. If you don't have a date yet, you will have a date by the end of this training. Just so you know, you will have a date. Because that's the first step, is setting that date. So do you want to go ahead and get started?
Yeah, I think we can go ahead and get started.
Okay.
And Tish, I think I'm experiencing feedback on your end.
You're hearing feedback?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Let me check my sound settings. Get the big podcasting mic. How about now? Is that better?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay, perfect. All right, great. Well, we're going to go ahead and get started. I know there's a couple of people that are still coming in. If you're watching the replay, first of all, thank you for being here. If you're here with us live, hello, welcome. Tonight, we're going to be talking about achieving your dream of working for yourself in 2016. And if you are just coming in and you haven't had a chance to, to type in your quitting date in the comments, go ahead and just, pop that in there. See a couple more people that have put in there January 2017, January 2018, December 5th, and all of that. So that's pretty exciting. And we're going to introduce ourselves in just a second, but I just want to ask, just a question for you. Let me know if this sounds like you. Do you want to earn your own income and set your own hours? Does that sound like you? Do you know that you have something special to share with the world? What about this one? You're tired of making your boss rich. That one, that was it for me. And you're ready to take deliberate action. If that sounds like you, then I want to let you know that you're in the right place. Okay. And I'm going to share these slides because I've got some photos that I want to show you. I want to know, what is it worth to you? What is it worth to you to be able to work for yourself, to be able to leave your job? What would that be worth to you if you could do that? If you could wake up and decide when you wanted to get your day started. Now I'll let Tanya kind of go into what it felt like for her. Tanya, tell us a little bit about what this photo is and your feelings on that day.
That is officially my favorite Instagram picture ever. Hi guys, good evening. So as Tish said, what is it worth to you? This picture is from my last day at my 9 to 5, September 5th, 2015. Going into Labor Day weekend, I strategically chose that day because it was right before the Beyonce concert that I was heading to in Philadelphia. And so after working at my 9 to 5 for almost 2.5 years and feeling very undervalued and underappreciated, I took that step. I said, you know what? My company deserves me more than this place does. My company will appreciate me more than this place does. And I'm just tired of having to request days off to go fulfill my awesomeness. And so I submitted my letter of resignation 2 weeks prior. And that picture was taken right there around the corner of my current apartment here in Brooklyn, New York, as I left my 9 to 5 while living here in New York City and paying these New York City premiums.
Yeah, that's pretty exciting. I remember the day that I left my job and what it took for me to actually make that a reality. There were several things that I had to put in place. And so today, during this presentation and during this chat that we're having with you, I just want you to start thinking a reality. What are you willing to do to make your dream of working for yourself a reality? Because it is going to require some effort and some action on your part. Okay. These are just a couple of pictures that I grabbed also. This one of them is, just a random spontaneous trip that I took. And you see in the middle photo, I am working in an airport lounge. I don't know if you can see kind of in the window there in the background, but it says Fly Delta. That's, the Sky Lounge. And I'm just working on some Facebook ads and, working on my business. And then, on the right-hand side, that's just a photo, sort of a behind the scenes photo shoot that I did because for your business, right, you need some nice professional photos. So I decided to do, essentially a photo shoot on the beach. And those things would never have been a reality for me. It never would have been, something that was possible to happen for me if I hadn't made the decision to make my dream a reality, right? And when I left my job, I actually gave my boss a hug because I knew that it was the end of one thing and the starting of, something new. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about what you're going to learn, and then we're going to introduce ourselves, and then we'll jump right in and get started, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So today you're going to learn how to create a plan to organize your finances. You're going to learn how to properly and effectively build your business. You're going to learn how to get the help that you need on your journey, how to determine your income strategies, the most important business aspects of working for yourself, and the emotional and mental aspects of working for yourself, because it's not all laptop lifestyle, fun on the beach. It's actually pretty difficult to work on the beach, and that's sort of a side note. But
I was going to
I
say
don't think
that
I've ever actually, taken my
difficult.
laptop and actually worked, on the beach.
It's kind
Near
of
the
hard to
beach,
have a
maybe.
photo shoot on the beach, actually, too.
Yeah, that's about the extent of it right there. So let's go ahead and introduce ourselves. My name is Letitia Stiles. I'm a digital marketing strategist, and I help my clients find their own clients online. We do that using a couple of different strategies, but on average, when working with me, my clients are able to find their own clients within about 6 weeks. My claim to fame is that I started my own business. I struggled while I was working my 9 to 5. I built it up into an income stream of about $5,000 per month. I took the leap and started working for myself, and I had the opportunity to double my business this year. And I'm just so happy and thankful that I have the opportunity to work with wonderful entrepreneurs every single day. And I'll tell you a little bit more about my story as we go on, but that's essentially the nuts and bolts of who I am. Tanya, you want to introduce yourself as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Tanya Rapley. Hello to you guys who are just meeting me for the first time. I am a certified financial education instructor and the founder and creator of MyFab Finance. So at MyFab Finance, my mission is to help millennials break the cycle of living paycheck to paycheck. Most recently, we completed the Banish the Balance Challenge, where over 4,000 people participated, and we paid off $210,000 worth of debt in 60 days. And so we're doing amazing things over at MyFab Finance, but finance hasn't always been my story. But I did realize it was something I loved, and I realized I loved it more than working for others in the nonprofit 9 to 5 that I was working. So I started my blog in 2013, and I resigned from my job by 2015. Things were pretty aggressive with my timeline. I was on the cover of Black Enterprise October 2014. So that kind of changed a few things. But I learned valuable lessons along the way about what and what not to do when capitalizing on press, when building your business, when creating revenue streams. And I am celebrating 1 year of self-employment in less than 2 months. And this first year has been amazing, but it has been trying and also full of education that I look forward to sharing with you on this webinar.
Yes, that 1 year mark. That's so exciting. Yay. And if y'all were, if you guys were in the comments earlier, I had mentioned that I have 2 quitting dates. The first date was my, determined I'm going to leave my job. And then, I ran into some roadblocks, and I ended up going back to a 9 to 5. And that lasted for about 3 months. And then I said, I'm determined to make this work. And that slide that I was just showing you, what are you willing to do to make the first time I left my job? It wasn't until I was at the point of going back to the 9 to 5 world that I realized I've got to do something about this, and I've got to do something different. So, and if I escape that, it shows the slide. So let me just go into here. Okay. So Tanya, do you want to take us through step 1?
Yeah, absolutely. Because there are 4 key elements to a strong financial plan when it comes to being we say new entrepreneurs, but it's not limited to new entrepreneurs. If we have any existing entrepreneurs on here, these tips might be helpful as well. So the first one is your expenses. And that is getting a handle on what your life costs. Because if you're an adult, and if you're paying, if you have any responsibilities, then you have expenses. So even if you might be living with a family member, you still have expenses. You're responsible to someone to maintain your lifestyle. So one other thing I find working with clients who aren't even considering becoming entrepreneurs is that they don't even know how much their life costs. And how much your life costs is, if you were to lose your job today, so unwillingly, if you were to lose your job today, or if you were to quit today, what are those expenses that you would be responsible for on a monthly and weekly basis? So if you have children, you know, what daycare, groceries, even if you don't have children, groceries, different things that you would have to purchase. If you have, you know, if you live on your own, or if you have roommates, you still have rent or a mortgage. So what are those regular expenses that you are responsible for? And in that, I say create a bare bones budget. Bare bones budget doesn't mean things that, you know, you enjoy doing. So it's not necessarily your manicures, unless it's essential to your job function. It's not your, you know, daily latte or your weekly brunch with the girls. What is your bare bones budget for how much you need to make at a minimum to make sure that you're meeting your necessities as it pertains to your finances? So it's subjective, and one reason we didn't outline everything is because everyone has different financial obligations and responsibilities. You know what your financial obligations are. There are certain things you can move around. For example, when I left my job, I put my student loans in deferment because I wanted things to normalize before I took on that bill. And it was something that was a little more flexible. And I knew I wanted all of my money available to me possible. So there are certain things that might be flexible, but creating that bare bones budget will allow you to see what's flexible, what can be eliminated, and what you can't miss, irregardless of if you're having an amazing month or a less than stellar month financially. The second thing is creating a runway. And so most people have heard, people refer to it differently. Some people I called it my quit fund. So I had a savings account set aside and it was named quit fund. Some people call it the cushion. Whatever you call it is money in a savings account that is set aside for you to pay those expenses that we covered or that I discussed just now in the event that you don't generate enough revenue from your newfound position and working for yourself. And so runway amounts differ. And I don't want you to get stuck into thinking, you know, I can't leave my job until I have 12 months. It's not always the case. You have to know what your financial responsibilities are. You have to know how strong your business is. So if you're starting with a bare bones business and you don't really have anything fleshed out, I might not suggest you leave your job just yet, but I definitely don't suggest going without 12 months in your runway. When I left my job, I had, most people say 3 to 6 months. I had 3 months set aside in my runway because my revenue streams were strong for my business. And I have to say that I have not had to touch that money that I put aside since leaving, in that it's been a year. So you have to determine how much money you need, how much money you're comfortable with, and how strong your business is. But textbook, we recommend that you have at least 6 months stored away for your overhead. And so Tish, before I go on, do you want to talk about your runway and how much money you set aside on both quits?
Yeah, sure. So the first time I was, getting ready to leave my job, I had set my deadline and I was getting ready to quit and I was saving up 6 months. So I had saved up 6 months of expenses. I did that, recommended. I dropped my expenses down really, really low. I had paid off all of my credit card debt. I got rid of my car loan. And the only thing I had left was my student loan. And it was a federal student loan. So I had a lot of flexibility with it. So I said, okay, I've got 6 months and this is going to be perfect for me. I left my job the first time, like I said, June 2014. And it was me trying to figure things out on my own. And I just kept seeing my savings slowly, like I was making some money, but I kept seeing the savings go down, like go down, go down, go down. And then finally, my husband started talking to me. He's like, okay, well, this business thing, like what's going on with it, And I was like, well, it's working. I'm trying. And he said, well, maybe you can, just, he said, you have to, honestly, like that just crushed me because I felt like a failure. I felt like, I wanted to leave my job and I did it. And now I had to go back. And it was really because, I was afraid to, fear caused me to go back to the working world. And then I was there for about 3 months before I said, okay, this is it. Like, I'm going to do whatever it takes to make it happen. And I took some of the cash that I was earning. I didn't have a quit fund that time, but I took that cash that I was earning and I invested it and in the learning I needed in order to move my business forward. And, I haven't looked back since. So first time, 6 months, second time, not so much, but the second time I did what I needed to. Make it is different for everyone.
Yeah, and I definitely agree, because that is one of the things, is you have to know your business and you have to know yourself. So if you know you are a hustler and someone could put you out, on the corner tomorrow, and you would come back in the house and triple, put you in the corner $20 and you would come out in the house legally with 60, tripling that money, then you might not have to save as much as a person who still has to figure things out within their business, their sales strategy, and someone who needs to become comfortable asking for what they're worth and generating revenue. So yes, so that is your quit fund or creating your runway. But as you think about it, it's a plane. So I think my favorite analogy of it is the runway, because I think when you say quit fund or like pillow, you think you're going to fall into it. But a runway, you look at it as, no, you're taking off and you're about to soar over all your former coworkers who are still miserable at their job, and you have gotten the courage to go on and do what you actually love doing and doing your own thing. And so the next one, Tish, do you want to put the slides back up? The next one is setting a deadline. And so if you do not give yourself a deadline for when you are going to leave, chances are you are not going to leave by choice. And when I say by choice, because at one of my jobs, I was building my Fab Finance on the work computer there. And I was, I would blog from there. And I found out that my boss was monitoring my computer. And one day in a staff meeting, she said, "So is that little blog going to pay your bills?" And I was mortified, upset, frustrated. Who she thinks she is? She don't know my business. She don't know my life. But, sometimes you're pushed out, but a lot of times, hopefully, you will set your own deadline for when you leave. My first deadline for leaving my Fab Finance was actually March 2015. And then my job gave me a $15,000 raise. And at the time I was talking to a few other people who I had told that deadline to, and they said, well, that's enough to make you stay. And I was like, yeah, it's enough to make me stay. But after being there for another 3 months, I realized that $15,000 was not enough to pay me for my dream. And I set another deadline for September of that year, because I wanted to go to FinCon, which is a financial bloggers conference, without my 9 to 5. And so be strategic about your deadline. There are 3 things that I did in being strategic about my deadline. The first one was I quit at the beginning of the month. So if anybody knows health insurance, and if anybody is considering not leaving because of health insurance, for me, leaving at the beginning of the month, I found out that I would still maintain my health insurance benefits for the remainder of the month. So even though I left on September 5th, my health insurance benefits were good until September 30th. My previous quit date was the last week of August, but then I found out I would be out of health insurance benefits that last week of August if I was to quit then. So I set my date up so that I could prolong my benefits and I could go get everything checked out on my own time, since I was no longer reporting to my job. And I just wanted to get everything done before I faced being uninsured for a couple of weeks. So to be very strategic in that regard. And then your deadline also helps you think about when you need to save your runway by. So if you're just putting money away aimlessly, and you don't have a quit date, then you don't really have a set date for, I need to have $12,000 in my account by this date. So your goal becomes less real to you, and you're more likely to spend that money because you don't know when you're going to leave. But if you know you're leaving the next month, you realize that everything that you bring in that month needs to go into that account. If you know you're leaving at the end of the summer, that dictates your summer goals and whether you splurge on fun or you put that money into your savings account. So that's another important thing. And that is also in being strategic about setting your deadline. And then lastly, I mentioned that I set my deadline for when I was going to a financial bloggers conference, because I knew that I would be recruiting, and it was a large event for me to recruit new clients that would bring in revenue into my new full-time business. And so I structured my quit date around that, because I knew that I knew I would want that push of it added revenue right after leaving my 9 to 5, and it would help me breathe easier, even though I had already done the work to set up a few different revenue streams. And that's the perfect segue into this next part, thinking about your revenue plan, because it's not a business if it is not making money. Excuse the typo, but it is not a business if it is not making money. Most of you have heard it is a hobby. And I'm sorry if that hurts anybody's feelings. The first time I heard, I was like, no, you don't know. This is a business, and I haven't figured out how to make money. But to the IRS and to the federal government, it is not a business if it's not making money. And in order to make money, you need to have a revenue plan. To have a revenue plan, it's not good enough just to say, I'm going to sell XYZ amount of hair products, every single month, because things change. People's finances change. I can even tell you within personal finance, I don't sell products, but I can tell you that my schedule is jam-packed generally January through about April, because January, everyone's gung-ho about their new goals. February is Black History Month. March is Women's History Month. August is Financial Literacy Month. So my schedule is generally jam-packed during there. So I'm doing a lot of speaking engagements. But after that, speaking engagements generally dry up, and they especially dry up during the fall and the winter months, especially November and December. So I realized that my business model couldn't just be based on speaking engagements. My business model couldn't just be based on selling planners, because what happens when I've sold all the planners to everybody who follows me on Instagram and wherever it may be? Even though I hope I'm attracting new clients regularly, I could not live just only on Superfab financial planner money, or I couldn't live just on course money. I had to set my business up in a way that there were multiple revenue streams coming in. So as you begin to think about your revenue plan, I want you to think about the different ways that you can make money in your business, because you may think that you can only make money one way, but I guarantee you there's at least one additional way that you can generate revenue for your business. So I gave you guys some of my revenue streams. I have a product, which is a book that sells on Amazon. I take speaking engagements, which basically anybody on this webinar probably could do. You could start taking speaking engagements. It does require you to build up a reputation, but once you started to build a reputation for yourself, you can start charging for speaking engagements based on your area of expertise. I also have coaching products, and I coach clients one-on-one. And then I also have sponsorships or influencer deals with brands that also help me make up or generate revenue for my business. So I want to say that MyFab Finance, I started it in 2013. I left my job in 2015. That wasn't from money I generated from the blog. A lot of times when you hear people say they make money directly from their blog, you need to understand what is involved in that, because there's a lot of blogs out here. And if you're going to make money from your blog, you have to have a Loctite revenue plan. And Letitia can help you with that, because she's helped me learn how to generate money from my blog. But I want to stop talking, and I want to invite you to think about what's one additional thing that you could do to make money with your business. That might be another avenue that you can explore, whether it's an entrepreneurship angle, whether it's teaching people how to do what you do. So I noticed Belkis is in here. Belkis is one of my good friends. She makes beautiful clothing. One thing Belkis could do outside of her clothing line is teaching other people how to make clothing. She taught me how to sew. That's my sewing teacher. And so because of Belkis, I know how to hem my pants. And so that's another revenue stream for her. And so I want you to think about something you could do for your business, or think about something someone has paid you to do in the past that might not necessarily be related directly to your business, but you could make money on that if things weren't going as planned with your business. So in the comment section, please share at least one additional way that you could generate revenue with your business. And in the meantime, Tish, if you would like to add on to that.
Yeah, definitely, because that you made a lot of really good points. I don't make a full-time income being a blogger. Let's just be honest. Like writing and putting content why I had to go back to a full-time job, because I thought my blog was going to be my full-time income, and it's very difficult to get it there unless you have lots of traffic, unless you have multiple products. It's difficult to get there, let's just say that. But what I started to do was I started to realize that there were other ways I could make income. So I started freelance writing, and I started bringing income in that way. Influencer agreements and working with Fortune 500 companies, and I started earning that way. I started consulting work and finding clients that I could help with my services. I had so many different streams of income when I decided to make it all work. And I only recently refined it down to 3 main streams of income, which is I help my clients on a consulting basis, so doing done for you work. I help clients on a coaching basis, so doing done with you work. And I earn from affiliate income, passive income from my blog. And I'll tell you, the passive income would not be enough to support me. It's maybe an extra, $500 to $1,000 per month. That's not enough. And it's not enough to do just one thing. So it is important to think about other ways that you can make income. Whatever your skills are, you can take those skills and offer them to someone and start making more than you thought was possible. So if you think it's just your blog, and you're looking at your blog and you're looking at your traffic and you're like, this is never going to work, we're trying to open your mind to the possibilities, right?
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Expand it out.
Absolutely, Tish. And I'm happy you said that, because, in 1 month, one revenue stream might be killing it. 1 month, in January, I think Superfab Finance Planner, I sold like $3,500 worth of Superfab Finance Planners, which was like crazy. But last month, I sold $600 worth of planners, so it varies, and, it's based on what's going on in people's lives, what's going on in the world, what holiday season, or what the holiday season, or whatever season you're in, July, 4th of July, people ain't buying planners, but New Year, time to get my money right. People want planners and people want to get their life together. And same for speaking engagements, as I said. And yeah, I'm glad that you mentioned freelance writing, because freelance writing was also one of my my strongest revenue streams. When I first started my Fab Finance, I was able to take on, when I first left my 9 to 5, I was able to take on a client that was paying me maybe like $2,000 a month to write 4 articles for them. And so, that was really helpful. That covered my overhead. And so please don't minimize how lucrative freelance writing can be, especially if you start to build your portfolio as you're planning your exit.
Yeah, so it's so important. And like I said, we're trying to expand your mind to the possibilities, because, we've done this presentation a couple of times, and, we get some of the same questions, which is, how can I do it? How can I do it? And it's really all about mindset. So I want to swing us over into step 2, which is understanding the mindset that you need. Because as an entrepreneur, you have to work on your single day. Every single day. You're going to experience ups, downs. You're going to experience low days, high days, which is the same thing as ups and downs. And it's going to feel different because yesterday's struggle feels different from today's struggle. But you have to understand that you have to work on your mindset. The first one I have on here is, a man is not a financial plan. And so if you're of the mindset, Tanya's like, yes. If you're of the mindset that you can just rely on someone else to help you fund your dreams, and that's just going to be it, that's not going to be it. You have to create your own income. You have to create your own stream of income so that you can, have that respect for yourself. And, I think a lot of times people look at, it's the first thing you say. If you say I'm married or I'm in a relationship, they automatically assume that your husband's taking care of everything, and, you're just sitting at home, and your only reason you're working for yourself is because your husband is handling everything. And that's not true. So you have to be able to create your own stream of income so that you can, no matter what happens, you can take that income and take it everywhere. When I first, left my job, dating, but I was still single. I was living on my own. And I know, Tanya, we had talked about this a little bit also, but I don't know if you want to share, a little bit of your experience with, that first, like, moving into that next step.
Yeah, I mean, so total transparency, me and my husband, we had the conversation. He was really supportive of it. But my Fab Finance, thankfully, I was holding my end of the bargain, because as someone who was in a financially abusive relationship prior, I did not want to make myself vulnerable financially where someone else was taking care of me, and I was someone else had that type of power over me. There were times we had conversations, and he might absorb a little more, but I definitely wanted to make sure that I carried my weight on our basic needs. But things changed 6 months into working for myself, because my husband ended up leaving his job. It wasn't something that was built into my plan originally when I said I was going to resign. And 6 months in, now both of us are self-employed completely. So things change. I mean, his job, they let him go, they laid him off. And so you just never know. And so depending on someone else is not a financial plan, and we don't advise it. It's not what we've done. Sure, it's great to have support, but don't allow that support to be, we'll say, like a kickstand. You don't ride a bike with the kickstand down the entire time. You put it down when you need to rest, and then you pick it back up. Allow that support to be the kickstand, but don't allow it to be the wheelchair.
I love that analogy.
I just came up with that.
I love that. I really like that. I may borrow that. I really like that, the kickstand, because it's a good visual. So the other thing is, as an entrepreneur, you have to be a professional solution finder. And I wonder if I'm swinging through this. Well, let me go back to this really quick. What can you do if you don't? And I have think in parentheses, like, what can you do if you don't think you have support? You can drop your expenses. You can look into finding a business partner that's willing to split expenses with you. So while you have that independence as an entrepreneur, you can still look for support. Okay.
And take advantage of all the free resources available.
Yes. So this next step is, you have to be a professional solution finder as an entrepreneur. So we're still kind of talking about the mindset you have to have. You have to be a professional solution finder. What I always say to my clients, intention is to achieve it. And I want you to think about this. So whenever you're like going to shop for a car and you find a car that you like, let's say, it's a red Mazda, and I use red Mazda because that's a car I have. Why is it that after you leave the dealership, you're starting to see red Mazdas everywhere? It's because you are only taking in, at any point in time, you're only taking in about 20% of what your brain and your eyes actually see, right? Your brain is filing away because you can't handle everything. So you're only getting about 20% of that, and it might be less, right? But once you focus on something and you set an intention and you say, this is what I want, this is what I want to do, suddenly you'll start seeing opportunities. And it wasn't that they weren't there before, it's just that you hadn't specifically said, this is the date I'm going to leave my job. In order to leave my job, I need 4 freelance clients. Once you specifically set the intention, and I say write it down. You write it down and you say, I will find 4 freelance clients. And then your brain starts working. Suddenly you'll see someone who commented and said, is anyone looking for freelance writers? I'm a freelance writer. And then you might connect with them and say, hey, I'm a freelance writer also. Where do you normally find your clients? It's surprising what happens once you do set that intention. It's such an important piece. Okay. Adrian says, would freelance writing be like for another blog or magazines? Both and all, any and all. It's whoever is going to hire you to write. Okay. The next piece on here is the mindset of an entrepreneur is the difference between budgeting and investing. And I actually had I had this conversation on my Facebook page, and I asked a couple people, what they thought was the difference between a budget versus, the word invest. And the thing is that as a business owner, you evaluate purchases differently. So whereas before, when you were working your 9 to 5, income coming in 2 weeks, and now I have to figure out where this money goes. And I'm going to save some of it. Like, that's really all you're thinking, right? You're not thinking of how can I make this money grow? Maybe you have an investing account with stocks and all of that. But once you start as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, you're evaluating purchases differently. Now you're using your budget to fund your investments. And you're investing because you know that you're going to earn wealth with those investments. People are so quick to throw their money in the stock market. Finance is my background, like that's where I come from. But when you invest in stocks, someone else, and it's good for you if you want a hands-off approach. But once you're an entrepreneur, now you've got to take money and invest it in your own business, because you are investing for wealth and you're evaluating your purchases differently. Tanya, I don't know if you had something that you wanted to include or add on that one.
No, I think you covered it well, Tish, and I know that we want to keep their time in mind, and we have a few more slides.
Okay. All right, great. The next step here is step 3. So we're doing pretty good, actually. We've gone through step 1 and step 2, and we're on step 3. So step 3 is determining your income strategy, right? A business with no clients is no business for very long. And to do this, you have to understand your target, know your value, and then work backwards from your income goals. So I'm going to break those 3 pieces down right now. All right. The first thing is understanding your target. So strangers are not going to buy from you, but they will if they can get to know you first. And in order to do that, you have to get really clear on who your target market is. And I go over this over and over and over again with my clients about getting really clear on their target market. So now that you have your services and you know exactly what you want to offer, you have to get really clear on who your target is. I talk about, some advertising, and it's too much to sort of go into on this presentation, but, once you know your target, you'll know exactly how to go after them. So that's an important piece, okay? The next thing is understanding your value. Understand what you are worth, okay? You can have a short conversation with someone who is willing to listen to you, and that can give you a warm lead. Once you have that warm lead, how can you convert them into a customer? And once you do, how do you know how much to charge, right? So you have to know your value. If you're not quite sure what your value is, then you need to work with someone who can specifically say, this is how much you should charge because I have experience, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, and the next step in here is working back from your income goal. So if you want to make, an extra, $500 a month, how many freelance clients is that? How many items do you have to sell? How many voiceover audiobooks do you have to ship out? Okay, so you got to work backwards from your goal. And remember that people are going to buy when they know, like, and trust you. So it's really, really important when you are. It is your marketing efforts that are going to bring in those clients, because they have to get to know you first before they can purchase from you. A sale to someone who is who has never really seen you before. All right.
Yeah.
And that brings us to step 4,
which is our 4th, and this is our final step, I believe. But this is where, no, this is not our final step. But this is where, you can't do this alone. Nobody, as much as people say they are self-made, people are not fully self-made. Somebody has somebody along the line who gave them a helpful tidbit, who said, let me help you take this stress off your plate. People, we need help. And the first thing to understand is that everybody will not be on board with your plan, you know, for various reasons. Not saying they're all haters, but for various reasons. Some people might genuinely be concerned for you. When I first moved to New York and I had a music blog, my parents were so concerned, and rightfully so. I did not have a plan. The second time around with My Fab Finance, they weren't. They were somewhat concerned, but now they're comfortable. Everyone's not going to be on board with what you want to do, and don't let that discourage you from finding help in other sources. But also, it is important to heed reasonable input. I won't call it feedback, but heed reasonable input. Don't discredit everybody who has something critical to say of you, because sometimes they really are saying that from a place of love or a place of experience. Make sure that that support is committed. And as it says on the slide, how do you know they're committed? They probably already made somewhat of an investment within you. I routinely answer people's questions on Facebook, on Instagram, in my inbox, and usually I'm vested in seeing them succeed. So the people who are going to support you, they probably already made an investment. They saw what's special in you and they want to see you win. The next is seeking a mentor. You are going to need a mentor. One of the things, and I was so discouraged, I wasn't finding a mentor early on. So I put on my board, I write my positive affirmations on my mirror. And I have a mentor who wants to see me succeed and has valuable insight to provide me with about my business. I would recite that regularly. You know what? Tiffany the Budgetnista ended up becoming my mentor in this space. And I know that I'm further along as a result of it. So you need a mentor, and determining who that mentor will be is really just watching how people move. Watch how people move. People, mentors, I'd say qualified mentors are usually pressed for time because they're making moves in their own life. But watch how those people move, watch what type of person they are, watch how they carry themselves professionally, and watch who they interact with. Because you also want a mentor who can put you in places that you might not be able to get yourself into, or who have access to information that you might not have. So watch how they conduct themselves. And I really just also wanted to say, everybody cannot be your coach. So while you want help on your journey, everybody can't be that help, especially when it comes to the coaching realm. So Letitia is a coach. She's an exceptional coach. I've worked with her before. I have another friend that I've worked with, Maya Elias. Maya Elias is a great coach, but I limit the coaches that I work with, because if everybody is coaching you, then nobody is coaching you, essentially, because you're not able to process and digest the information, and you're not able to take action, especially if you're getting all these signals and all these tips from different areas. Pretty soon you have information overload and you're paralyzed because of too much information, not because of too little. And different coaches have different strategies. They have different curriculums. And if you're not completing one coach's curriculum, you're not seeing the full results of working with that coach. And you're doing yourself and them a disservice. So remember that everyone cannot be your coach. Find maybe one or two people that you like how they work and decide to work with them till the end of the program. And the final is also join a community. Communities are important. Letitia has a wonderful community. As I said, I have the Triumph Club, which is a completely finance-based community and helping people break the cycle of living paycheck to paycheck. But join a community. You don't have to do this alone. And lastly, I just want to remind you that you don't have to be perfect. You just have to start. You do not have to be perfect. That paralysis that I talked about does not just apply to information. That paralysis applies to your own confidence and how you feel about yourself and what you have to offer the marketplace. Just start. And I just want to show you a few things, because this is the very first My Fab Finance website that I had done professionally, because y'all don't want to see how ugly the one was that I did myself, because I'm not a coder. But this is the very first My Fab Finance site. Like, this, it's come a long way. Then we'll go to the next one, the second one. So I had a redesign, and there is a second iteration of the My Fab Finance website. So updated the logo a little bit, changed it out, same color scheme, but just going for a different feel. And that was the second My Fab Finance website. This was about a year in. And this is this is not the My Fab Finance website you see today. This was a second take on that last website because there were some things that just weren't working functionally and I wanted something more simple. And then we have the site that you see today, which I am totally in love with and do not see myself changing for a while. But it took me 4 website redesigns, not including the little ugly one that I put up before. It took me 4 website redesigns to get to where I wanted to be. But within that process, I landed the cover of Black Enterprise magazine. I resigned from my job to work for myself full time. I spoke at Circle of Sisters here in New York City at Jacob Javits. I took on my first coaching client. So that did not stop me from executing my vision. And some people are so hung up on how things look that they don't do the work. I'm telling you right now, don't get hung up on that, because if you don't start, you'll never get to where you want to go. Tish, you have anything to chime in on?
Always say, don't let your website hold you back.
I think I'm getting some freezing on you, Tish. Okay.
Yeah.
Can you say that one more time?
That's all you need to start booking clients.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so the next one is
so we're gonna, step 4, which is the intellectual property. And I don't know, I think this is your section. You want to go through this one?
Yeah, so intellectual property, I wanted to talk about that really quick because some people are over obsessed with it and some people aren't concerned enough with it. And there is a decent balance, and you want to ask yourself, is your intellectual property protected? So I was encouraged to, so I tried to trademark MyFab Finance for the first time, maybe 2 years ago, ended up losing a lot of money because I tried to do it myself and I didn't know what I was doing. So I kind of gave up after spending $700. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to put that on ice. And I was riding dirty with my business for a while because at that point, anybody could have came and said, incorporated MyFab Finance or trademarked it and said, no, this is ours. You got to go. And so my moment was when I was meeting with Russell Simmons. I was about to work with him to work on a project for his banking product. And they said, oh, Russell loves the idea. He is so in love with what he thinks is genius. I was like, wait a minute. This man has way more coins than me, and he could take this from me overnight. I went home, found trademarking online, found legal. I ended up using, I had to look for the name, and I can share that with you guys because there's so many out there. But I ended up using a service I found online through a Google search. Cost me $69 to incorporate, to pay them to do my trademark, and it was so much quicker. And the process is underway. And so it's really important just to make sure that your intellectual property is protected, but also understanding the difference between what a trademark will do for you and incorporating will do. So just because you incorporate it doesn't mean you have a trademark. Incorporations are good for the state that the business is incorporated in. A trademark is national. Trademark prevents anyone from using the name of your business. If you get a registered mark, it prevents them from using your registered mark. So think of Coca-Cola. That image is, their logo is a registered mark. A patent protects your idea, and that is a lengthier process, but a patent protects your idea for a certain amount of time, so no one else can come and say, hey, I invented this like new way to drink water without, handless or whatever it may be. So the understanding what those differences are and what you need as it pertains to your business. And then the business for working for yourself, do you have a dream team assembled? Do you have people do you have a lawyer? Do you have a virtual assistant? Do you have a web designer who can make your life much easier? These things are a lot less expensive than you may assume. For example, I don't have a web designer on retainer, but I have my graphic designer on retainer because I make a lot of worksheets for you guys on MyFab Finance. And I paid my graphic designer $150 a month to make unlimited worksheets and materials that I need. And so you need people on your team to take the weight off of yourself. Contracts, you need an attorney to wade through those contracts to make sure that companies aren't sticking you, because let's be honest, this is a capitalist society and they're going to get everything out of you that they can get for the least amount of money. And you don't want to be locked into exclusivity agreements, or if you're writing for someone, you don't want to lock into not being able to use your own work. as a result of that contract that you signed before you had an attorney review it. Ideally, you'd have a family friend or someone you went to school with or a classmate or someone who really just wants to see you shine that will offer certain legal opportunities or certain legal reviews to you, low cost or free of charge. But even if not, don't let that stop you from looking from someone who can provide you with sound assistance. And virtual assistants, they're really important. Mine is tuned in on this call. Janelle, I would be on the corner, like in the corner crying on a nightly if I did not have a virtual assistant to help pull some of this weight. And some of you guys aren't at the point where you need a virtual assistant yet, but I learned at FinCon, the Financial Bloggers Conference we went to, someone said, as soon as you make enough to pay someone to do things that you shouldn't be doing or you don't enjoy doing or you can't do, that's when it's time to bring in assistance. And there is no shame, and virtual assistants are absolutely amazing. And so make sure you have that dream team. And then lastly, get your mind right. We discussed that. Is your mindset right? Because my first day of entrepreneurship, I thought I was going to be popping bottles. I was sitting there on the couch in my living room wondering if I was really built for this. And that is me being transparent. You have to get your mind right about entrepreneurship because it is truly a journey and it will challenge so many things that you thought you knew about yourself and so some of the confidence that you might have had in your business before you left, because now you have to go hunt for your living versus just reporting to a 9-to-5 and getting that check automatically deposited to your account. So those are things, the business of working for yourself. And I do want to add, if you have a spiritual practice, hold tight to it. For MyFab Finance, I have my finances set up right, but I hadn't had my spiritual practice implemented. And as a result, I spent February and March, I didn't even have any goals or any business goals for MyFab Finance. I had spiritual and personal goals for MyFab Finance. So I sat back and strengthened my spiritual relationship with my creator so that I could have what I needed spiritually to progress in MyFab Finance. And that was one of the best things that I ever did for my business. So it's important not to discount the business of you as you grow your business. And so today we discussed how to create a plan to organize your finances, how to properly and effectively build your business on a bootstrap budget, how to get the help you need on your journey, how to determine your income strategy and the different ways that you can bring in money for your business, the important aspects of working for yourself, and the emotional and mental aspects of working for yourself. Because Tish and I do not want to make this seem like it's going to be the walk in the park. There are days where it will feel like a walk in the park, but there are days where it will feel like you are playing against Serena Williams, like like on a regular basis. It's like nothing that you hit is going the right way, and you're just questioning everything. So it's not always a walk in the park. But I want you to answer this for me, and I want you to answer, if you haven't left your job, what is stopping you? And if you can put that in the comment section, I would be greatly appreciated, because we want to see, what are some of the issues that people are having. So is it that you're afraid that you won't be able to earn enough? Is it because you need health insurance and benefits and you don't know how to get them by working for yourself? Is it because you're scared of failure? Is it because you need a plan? Is it a combination of any of these? Is it all of their above? What is it? Let us know in the Facebook, in the comments on the side of the screen.
Yeah, and while they're typing that in, I just wanted to add something, because you were talking about, the dream team piece, and my entire life changed when I finally hired an assistant. And I remember when I first went on, the website to go and hire, I was like, I just need someone to help support. I was like, solo entrepreneur needs help. And she popped in, and she's been amazing in helping me. And it's true, you have to look for and hire somebody before, as soon as you have the income, in order to pay them. Mm-hmm. So are you seeing any answers coming in here? I'm kind of refreshing this.
Yeah,
so I'll say A, B, and C. E, all the above. D, I need a plan. Okay.
Okay. Well,
all of the aboves in there.
Well, because so we're not going to leave you out there. We're not going to come over here and share everything we know and be like, okay, we're done. So I just wanted to, Tish, if you could get that next slide up so I could share it with the beautiful folks.
Yeah, so I just want to ask you, like, would it be worth it to you if we could show you an easier way? If that's the case, then Tanya's going to share something with you.
Yeah, because
can you see the slide?
Not yet, but I can just say that this is what we don't want to happen. We don't want you to spend the next 3 to 5 years at a soul crushing job that you hate, because that is miserable. We don't want you to take the leap into entrepreneurship unprepared, because that is scary. And we don't want you to wonder what would have happened had you started your business and followed your dreams, because living with regrets is one of my biggest fears. And so would it, like Tisha asked, would it be worth it if we could show you an easier way to do this? I would say yes. So we created something extremely special for you. Tish and I have been working on this, and we're like, what can we do to add value? And we created the Biz Bundle, because we built on both of our existing strengths and how we work with clients and how we've seen clients have success. So the Biz Bundle is financially prepared to be your own boss. A course I created to help you prepare to quit your job the responsible way. And I say with Letitia, it is a 30-minute session wherein you'll walk away with a 30-day action plan on what you need to be doing to make working for yourself a reality. She'll listen to what you're dealing with, she'll listen to what your strengths are, and then she'll advise you on moving forward. So in Financial Preparing to Be Your Own Boss, we cover how to tackle the 3 biggest parts of the journey. I'm not going to read those, but preparing your finances, calculating how much you need, how to manage your finances as a new entrepreneur. So paying taxes, obtaining health insurance, and funding your retirement plan, because a lot of people are concerned with that. And then we'll also cover how to remain financially successful as an entrepreneur. So you've leaped, but you don't want to relapse back into a job because you're not doing what you need to do to remain a successful entrepreneur. And that includes paying yourself a salary, structuring your time for maximum productivity, and the must-have financial documents for entrepreneurs, because entrepreneurs can buy houses, they can get cars, but you need to have your financial documents in order. And we discuss that in the course. So the course comes with unlimited access to the 3-part video series, 3 workbooks to help you properly plan your leap financially, access to our exclusive Facebook group, and I only answer business-related questions in that Facebook group, the Building Your Boss Network PDF, and access to interviews that I did with 4 of the most successful established entrepreneurs that I know here in New York City. And that is priceless. Like to see, and I had a hairstylist or a beauty salon owner, a gentleman who owns a brick and mortar boutique, a woman who is a jewelry designer, as well as a relationship coach. So he has intellectual property. And this is just a image from the course. We discuss revenue plan. I give you an outline. I actually give you my side revenue plan that I used when I was building my Fab Finance, and I charted it out. I did this with my mentor, the Budget Nisa. We sat down and discussed what ways I was going to bring in additional money. And then I just wanted to show you guys these testimonials of people who have already been in the course, because I'm not going to speak for it. I'll let them speak for it. And can I just say, wow, this course sums up all the questions you have about your finances and starting your own business. Tanya has lived it, and this course proves she has done the groundwork and research for y'all. Y'all, I went into the trenches for you. I did. That's how I started with my Fab Finance, and that's how I started with preparing to leave my 9-to-5. I won't read this other one, but just to have an idea that people are satisfied with the course. And Tish, do you want to talk about your offering?
Yeah, so the next piece that you're going to get is, like Tanya was saying, the 30-minute biz building session. I call it Latte with Letitia, and it does say beginners are welcome. So if you are even still, just trying to figure things out, that's okay, because on the call we can sort of figure it out. But, my specialty is marketing, and my specialty is helping you get clients. So, I'll give you a 30-day marketing plan, and we'll work on it together for your specific business to help you attract clients via social media. There's a lot of, strategies that I use, but there are some specific ones that can be very helpful for you. These are just a few testimonials from, people that I've had that we've gotten on calls together. This is one from someone. She says, my husband and I just got off our VIP call with Letitia Stiles, and we're so filled and motivated right now. Letitia was extremely patient in listening to the status of our business and offered us a challenging yet manageable 90-day plan to help us achieve our goals. Letitia, we can't thank you enough for your warmth, your wisdom, your professionalism, and the wealth you provided. We are souped. And her husband replied under there, they were ones, we did a 90-day plan for them. And another one, someone said, just got off my VIP call. She's awesome. And her note, which is what I really want to dig in on, is, if you're a coach of any type, it doesn't mean you yourself don't need a coach and do that much better. And I think there's a little bit of a stipulation where, someone thinks, well, if I'm helping other people, I myself, it's not true. Everyone needs a mentor, someone to help them, because there are other people. So this bundle that we're putting together, this is an $800 value. I do high ticket coaching, and my packages are not under $1,000. So even for 30 minutes, this is a super high value, and I'm happy to offer it as a part of this bundle today. And we're practically giving this away for $147. But what we want to do is we want to help as many entrepreneurs as possible. Like Tanya said, she wants to help, women in the cycle of living paycheck to paycheck. $100 a month. So we're doing this because we're so passionate about it. It's not always about the money. Yeah. This is not about that. And I just want to impress that upon you. We have a desire to help, and because we have this knowledge to share, it would be selfish of us if we didn't share it, right? So that's what we're offering for you today. And Tanya, I don't know if you have the link or whatnot.
Yeah, I dropped the link in there in the comment section, and okay. This is just the screenshot. I just realized it's not the same screenshot, so we can bypass that. But okay. As Tish said, we ain't cheap. If I was to go and teach an entrepreneurship workshop somewhere, my rates start at $3,500 for a 1-hour workshop. And so it really is because, we understand our value. So, and we understand how people receive things differently also when they put a little investment into it, but we wanted to make sure that our knowledge and everything we know is accessible to you. And so,
the button is on this page too. If you want to just scroll down, it's you have to go under the comments, but it'll say right there, get the boss bundle. You can just click right there and it'll take you right to the page.
Yeah. So, no, this is great. Financial Pyramid to Be Your Own Boss is one of my favorite courses. One of my good friends, Marsha of the Finance Bar, she actually took the course. And, when another finance person takes it, it's like, oh my God, me and my husband were eating this up all night. That says things. And so we spend time in providing value. As you can see, we've been on this webinar for over an hour, just making sure that we break things down. And if you have any questions, now is the time we're going to open it up to questions. The link is there. So it's bit.ly/boss bundle. It's right there in the section, or you can scroll down. But we're opening up for questions. So if anybody has any questions about anything we've covered, we tried to answer some of the questions as we've gone. But if there's something we didn't touch on, use this time to ask me and Tish while you have us available. Don't try to slide in my DMs and say, hey, Tanya, I was on the webinar yesterday and I didn't get to answer the question. So now is the time to ask us.
I'm here laughing in the comments because Candace is like, wait, I hope this isn't posting to Facebook. Oh Lord, my coworkers are on there.
I saw it.
So.
Oh, Tanya said, I work for the state and don't want to give up 17 years. Tanya, I understand that you have 3 more years to go, but in that time frame, you can be building your business so that not only will you have your retirement income, but you'll have a strong business as well. And so I definitely understand that 17 years, but you're on the other side of that hump. And I would like you to be building your business so that you don't have, I still know a lot of people who work for the state or work for the federal government or work for the city, and they can't live off of that retirement income. So they end up having to go get another job. And this way you wouldn't have to go get another job. You could work your business and be getting that stable retirement check in. So it's still worth your while to figure out how to best market and plan for your business. And then Sade Falana, hey Sade, I'm actually afraid to get a full-time job because I feel like it would take focus off my thesis and my business startup. I go back and forth. However, I need this to be up and running within 2 years. Sade, there's a way. I know that the doctorate program is not anything compared to the master's program, but I built my Fab Finance while working full-time and getting a master's degree. And it's possible. It's understanding where your time is best utilized and not wasting time. And that's the thing I see a lot of first-time business owners do, is they waste time on actions that aren't actually conducive to pushing their business forward. And I think Tish can speak to that even more.
Oh, yeah. I didn't know you actually wanted me to say something about that, but yeah, it's true. Like, so when I decided to take the leap back into entrepreneurship, and I said, okay, I've got to make it work, I got rid of a lot of distractions. I went on a low information diet, and I stopped wasting my time on what didn't work. And I started tracking what was working and tracking what I, actually needed to do. There's a lot of stuff that I don't do anymore. And I don't have my notebook. Actually, I do. This notebook, this is what I have. I write down exactly what I need to get done, and I just do it. I mark stuff off in the notebook. So you've got to eliminate the stuff that you don't need to do so that you can make room for the stuff that you need to get done.
Mm-hmm. But it's important. I mean, business information isn't innate, I would say, or business acumen isn't innate. And people spend a lot of time in pursuit of that information with people who kind of don't know what they're doing or don't have their best interests at heart. So it is important to make sure that your sources just know how to get you from point A to point B most effectively. Because you don't have.
Verna says, is there an age that's, Verna says, is there an age that's too old to start?
No. I was just talking to my husband about that today, because, we're in our mid 30s, and he was like, if I would have started this in my 20s, I'd be further along. And, there's not an age too late to start. I know people have seen those statistics in the infographics of, when not Microsoft, but when a lot of these large companies were started. I think PayPal, the founder of PayPal, he was well into his 40s or 50s when he started his company. And there are just so many CEOs who have proven that drive and passion and focus will outdo age or anything that you feel like you have stacked against you as to why you can't do your business. It comes into being solution oriented and understanding that you're going to learn new things and you're going to learn how to kill it.
Yep. And I can definitely attest to that, because when I made the shift and the pivot, when I left my job again for the second time, that's when I said, I was like, I'm focusing, and I knew I needed to grow as quickly as possible. That, like I said, that just happened this past October. It's July now. And I already earned from January to June every dollar that I had earned all year in 2015. So 12 months of income I made in 6 months. That didn't matter if I was 20, 30, 40, 50. It's about your hustle and your determination. It doesn't matter how old you are.
Yeah, and your process. Your process. Yeah. Like, you can be out here hustling backwards. And you're just tired.
Tell them, preach, Tanya.
Let's see, do we have any new comments? Let's see. Just trying to.
I don't see any more.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's. I have the same Facebook one. I'm friends with coworkers and my boss. Jennifer, you're okay. You're okay. They won't see this. There's a box up here that says also post to Facebook. And as long as you didn't click that box, they won't know that you're posting it to Facebook.
Yeah. So like we were saying, we really do want to, have this as something that can help you to, achieve that dream of work tonight. Once again, you can scroll down below the comments and you'll see the button to go and grab the Boss Bundle. The replay will be going out. You can also just come back to this page. This is where the replay will be hosted for the next 48 hours. And then after that, we're going to pull it down, and then I do my digital marketing stuff and doctor it up and make the slides look good and cut out any pieces where you couldn't hear us. And then that'll be it. So if you've got, essentially the next 48 hours to watch it, if you haven't already.
Okay. Well, if you already aren't connected to us, please connect with us on social media. We appreciate you for taking time out of your Wednesday night to hang out with us. And we hope that you walked away with something that was incredibly beneficial in helping you plan your freedom, because that really is what it is. And words can't express how excited I am for for Sunday night to roll around, because I know that on Monday I'm going to be doing something I love instead of something I dread. And I know what it's like to dread going to bed on Sunday, because you're waking up to go into that place that just steals your soul. So we hope that you receive valuable information on this webinar.
Awesome. Good stuff. Well, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
Bye, guys.
Bye.